Welcome to the Python Lists and Tuples, Managing Collections for Business Data, a module on structuring sales figures, records, and sequences. Up until now, you've stored one value per variable, but real business data is never a single value. It's a week of daily sales figures, a product catalog with hundreds of entries, a customer loyalty tier list. Python handles these multi-value collections with two primary structures: lists, which are dynamic and flexible, and tuples, which are fixed and secure. By the end of this module, you'll understand when to use each structure, how to access and manipulate list contents, and how to unpack tuple data into named variables. The foundational skills for every data engineering task that follows. This slide marks the transition from single value thinking to collection thinking, the most important shift in this module. On the left, the past. Price is equal to $19.99. One price, one variable. That works for a receipt with one item. On the right, the present. Prices. You have the equal sign in brackets, $19.99, $24.50, $19.90 or $9.99. A single variable holding an entire week of sales. A full product catalog, a customer loyalty tier list, one variable, multiple values, organized and accessible. Python handles business scale data with two primary collection structures: the list, a dynamic and flexible. It is a conveyor belt you can add to, remove, and rearrange. The tuple, fixed and secured, is the locked vault that preserves records exactly as defined. Real business data requires both. This slide dissects the anatomy of a Python list. Every structural detail labeled with its rule. My list is equal to Alice, 450, and true. These elements are three different data types. Creation, sequence brackets with comma-separated values. Zero indexed, Python starts counting at 0. The first element is my list 0, Alice. The last element is always my list minus 1, or my list, the length of the list minus 1. Length, in this case, is length, the function, counts total items. The last valid index is always the length minus 1. 3 rules to cement right now. Brackets, not parentheses for lists. The index start at 0, not 1. The last valid index is length, minus 1. Violating any of these 3 errors produces an index error, the most common list error in the course. Lists are mutable. You can add, remove, and rearrange elements after creation, making them the right structure for any collection that changes over time. Add to the end, use append, the most common list method. MyList.append with your new item adds one element to the end. Add at the position, insert with the index value, comma the value itself. Inserts at the specific index, shifting everything after to the right. Remove the value. Remove of the value finds and removes the first occurrence of that value. Remove by index, pop with the index number, removes and returns the element at the specific location. The assembly line visual makes the dynamic nature concrete. The robot arm can add to either the end, insert at any position, or remove any element. This mutability is what makes lists ideal for dynamic business collections, shopping carts, queues, and growing data sets. Python gives you 2 ways to sort a list, and choosing the wrong one introduces a subtle but serious bug. This slide shows exactly why they differ. List.sort sorts in place. The original list is permanently changed. The Data Logistics Center loses its original sequence. There's no going back. Sorted list returns a new sorted list. The original sequence remains perfectly intact. You get the sorted version without touching your source data. The business rule: if you need the original order preserved for any reason, display order, insertion order, or audit trail allows always use sorted. If you're done with the original order and only need the sorted version going forward, sort is fine and slightly more memory efficient. When in doubt, use sorted. It is safer by default. Slicing lets you extract a continuous subsequence from a list, and the boundary rule has one counterintuitive detail that trips up nearly every beginner. The syntax, my list, start: stop. The rule includes the start index and excludes the stop index. So in the visual, 2:5 grabs index 2, 3, and 4. It stops at the boundary of 5 without including it. 1:3 returns indices 1 and 2, and this include start, exclude stop rule is consistent everywhere in Python. Strings, lists, and ranges. So internalizing it once pays dividends across the language. Slicing always returns a new list. The original is never changed. Omit the start to begin from the index 0. So my list, 3, omit the stop and go all the way to the end. My list 2: uses both omitted as a complete copy. My list : processing list collections uses the same loop patterns from the iteration module. This slide connects those patterns to list-specific techniques. The basic loop, for item and list, processes every element one by one. The standard default for most list operations and dual scanner with enumerate, for index, value in enumerate list, gives both the position and the value simultaneously, using enumerate when position matters. Numbering report lines, updating a specific index, or comparing adjacent elements. The accumulator box in the diagram represents the total sales, variable accumulating across iterations. Position matters. When the day number matters along with the sales figure, if you only need the total of figures, the basic loop is cleaner. If day 3 or day 5 need to be traceable in the output, enumerate is the right tool. Tuples are the locked vault structure, immutable by design, created with parentheses, and used for data that must never change after creation. The key concept: tuples use parentheses instead of the square brackets. Once created, a tuple cannot change. You cannot append to it, remove from it, or resort it, or even update a value. It is locked in a permanent record. Explanation: immutability is the feature, not a limitation. When data should never change, for example, geographical coordinates, a database row, a function's multiple return values, a tuple enforces a permanence structurally. Business use cases: name, price, quantity for a fixed product entry, latitude and longitude, a geographical coordinate, a fixed database row, or anywhere the data represents a fact rather than a working collection. Tuple unpacking is one of Python's most elegant features. It assigns each element of a tuple to its own named variable in a single clean line. The standard way to access a tuple elements is by index. My tuple 0, my tuple in brackets 1. Tuple unpacking, though, collapses this into a single assignment. Name, price, quantity is equal to my tuple. Python assigns the first element to name, the second to price, and the third to quantity, simultaneously in one line. The number of variables on the left must match the number of elements in the tuple exactly. Insight: tuple unpacking lets you assign each internal value of the tuple to its own corresponding named variable in a single clean line of code. This is how Python functions return multiple values elegantly. They pack them into a tuple, and the caller unpacks them on the receiving end. The data architecture decision matrix gives you the precise rule for choosing between a list and a tuple. Choose the right container for your business logic. Feature comparison here. Syntax: lists use square brackets. Tuples use parentheses. Mutability: the list is mutable and can change. The tuple is immutable or locked. The ideal use case: list for dynamic collections of similar items. The tuple is for fixed records with named positions. Business example: list for daily sales queues and customer IDs. The tuple for coordinates or function returned values. The decision rule: ask one question: will this collection ever need to change after creation? If yes, use a list. If no, if it represents a fixed fact, a record, or a coordinate, use a tuple. The logistics roadmap summarizes the 4 capabilities you've built in this module and points to where they're applied next. 1. Creation. Lists use square braces, and tuples use parentheses. 2 is access, 0 indexing and slicing with start:stop. 3. State. Mutability, lists adapt, tuples protect. 4. Action. For loops and tuple unpacking to process and deploy collected data. In the next module, we'll be working with files and CSVs, loading real business data from disk. You now have the collection structures to hold multiple record data. The next step is reading that data from external sources, CSV files from ERP systems, POS exports, or CRM databases, directly into your lists and dictionaries using Python's file I/O tools.